into the chat, save it, send it out to you guys, and then we can get started. I don't want to start right now without getting the proper information out to you guys. So it's just redirecting, and boom, we in action. So just copy the link, paste it in here. There you go. So welcome, YouTube. If you're tuning in from New Zealand, Australia, or any of the countries from Pacific Asia, welcome, and thank the person who invited you, because we're about to share some important information that your financial advisor and your bank manager is not sharing with you. So before I get started, I just want to give you a quick rundown of why we're on this call. I want you to understand that the world, the banking space, governments are going through a huge change at the moment. They're going through this change, but they're not educating our citizens of our country. Can it be New Zealand, Australia, South Africa? I'm Shane Dia from South Africa. Here's the change, ladies and gentlemen, and I want you to pay attention to this. You see, a lot of people don't understand why changes are happening and why the innovation is happening. And I want to explain to you in 3 ways. The first one is we call Web3. Now, in the chat, do you guys know what is Web3? If you do know what is Web3, give me a Y or yes. If you don't know, type in N or no, because it's important. If I want to show you where we're evolving to, you need to know why. The why is important. It has to make sense, because your brain is going to keep questioning, why is banks doing this? So let me explain it. I can see a lot of Y's there, a lot of N's, but I want to explain it into our way, how we do it. So Web 1 was basically where the internet was created, where you could only read. That means anything that came off the internet, your Yahoo News or anything from university, was read only. Now remember these words. Web 1, read only. As technology evolved, internet became faster, laptops, etc. Hardware became more efficient. We moved on to Web 2. What is Web 2? Web 2 was when we could read, tick, and we could write. That means we could respond. Like emails, you could have a conversation, just like your social media you have today, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok, all your social media you use is Web 2. Why? Because you can respond. Now, here's the scary thing that happens in Web 2 is that you guys, everybody who's on the call, everybody that's watching this on YouTube, you don't own your digital data. What is your digital data? You see, when you click like on something on Facebook, or you click like something on YouTube, like what you're watching right now, YouTube, Facebook, all of these companies, they create an avatar of you. So they know you better than you know yourself, because you can't remember what you liked 3 years ago. So let's just say you saw a shirt that you like, you click yes. You saw a handbag, you click like, or you left a comment. What a beautiful destination for a holiday. I like to go there. This digital crumbs is picked up and thrown onto your avatar. They know where you like to travel. They know what cars you like, what shoes you like. They know everything about you. So these companies like Meta, YouTube, Google's, they take your digital data that they've accumulated over these years as crumbs, and they sell it to huge corporations. You don't have a say in that. You don't earn a single cent. So that is why Web 2 is read, write, and you don't own anything. They own you. Your Gmail at the moment is worth anything up to $180,000. And I can prove it to you. That's what your Gmail is worth right now. That's what they're selling your information because of what you're typing, what you're replying. Okay? So banks fall under Web 2. However, in 2008, something interesting happened. The blockchain was created. And the world started to move to Web 3. So what is Web 3? Web 3, you read, you write, and you own your own digital data. And a lot of people didn't understand that for a very long time until they've been educated about it. For an example, banks, they know when last you spent money on a burger at a restaurant. They know where you like to travel. They know, your bank know everything about you, and they create this algorithm because they know your spending habits. They know which stores you'll have to visit. They sell those data. Web 2. But in Web 3, you are in control of your data. They cannot sell your data because it's on the blockchain. And this is where the banks are saying we got to move. Why? Because Web 3 is your crypto, your AI, everything is in Web 3, your blockchain, smart contracts, anything that is taking over the world right now is in Web 3. So on this call, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to show you how we're going to move you from Web 2 to Web 3, where you control your financial breadcrumbs, your financial, little gold nuggets you're leaving for your banks. We're going to show you how to control that. If you like that so far, and if you learned something from that day, there's a reaction bar there. You can give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, right? So today's call is about moving from Web 2 to Web 3. So how we do it. Now, the fun begins. Today, in particular, we're not talking about social media. We're talking about the banking system, how they're moving to Web 3, and how you can position yourself. And if you position yourself as innovation happens, that's where wealth is created. So let's go. Now, because we have people from New Zealand on this call, I need to show you where the Banks of New Zealand is going, because I can't tell you to collect a commodity if you don't know where the world is going. Am I making sense? So if you guys can see my screen right now, just give me a thumbs up. This is the coin market cap. As you can see, there's 52 million different cryptos and 947 different exchanges. So this is the first step to Web3, is looking at cryptocurrency. This is a big, big, big market. Now, as you can see, Bitcoin is number one, but today we're going to talk about XRP, okay? For the last 7 days, it's up basically 8.32%, but let's do a deep dive into XRP. Now, as you can see, it's coming down, which is great for us because you can buy a whole lot more. But let's look at how big it is. 74 billion. 74 billion. Okay? So you can see that XRP, out of 52 million cryptocurrencies, it's number 5. So are you backing the right coin? Let's ask ourselves, why is this coin going up in value? Okay? Why is it up during a war? It's already up 8% for the week. Yes, you're going to get fluctuations, but during this week, it's already up 8%. So let's understand why. Okay? So for those of you who are in New Zealand right now, check this out. So Ripple, okay, let me explain this for a lot of people. Some people say, Shane, I'm collecting Ripple. And some say, I'm collecting XRP. Let me clarify. Ripple is the company and XRP is the token, right? It's like how you get Walt Disney and you get Mickey Mouse. So Ripple is the company and XRP is a token. Ripple is the company that owns all the banking licenses, and they use XRP as a token. Now let's look at it. For those of you in New Zealand, Ripple's token XRP is trading around that, with attention focused on its expanding global blockchain ecosystem, local integration in banking, and its continued involvement in dialogues regarding a potential CBDC. That means a central bank digital currency with the Reserve Bank of New Zealand. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not me, pulling out a PowerPoint that I've created this. This is already in action. How do you guys feel about this? How do you guys feel that your banks are moving towards XRP and Ripple? And as you can see here, Ripple has actively collaborated with the RBNZ to explore integrating XRP Ledger. The blockchain company has advocated for a clear regulatory framework to support digital assets in New Zealand. That's New Zealand. How many of you guys are from Australia here and you want to know, Shane, what about Australia? Well, Australia is slightly ahead. Let's show you. 11th March 2026. Ripple to secure Australian financial services license, expanding payments offering across APAC. Can you see that? This is on Ripple, and look at the date, March 11th, 2026. I want you guys to feel uncomfortable about this. I want you guys to understand that whether you agree to what we're doing or not, the world is moving towards Web3. Now, the question is, why are banks doing this? You see, this is why. On crypto, it takes us seconds to send money cross-border to another country. XRP does 1,500 transactions per second. Now, I'm not sure about you. If you tried sending money overseas from your country, it takes 2 to 3 business days. And banks have now realized that if they don't make the shift, if they don't evolve, most of the businesses will pull out their monies from the banking system and put it into crypto because they want to do business quicker, offshore payments quicker. So the banks got to evolve from Web 2 to Web 3. And they're using Ripple to do it. Am I making sense? So if we know what the banks are doing, we can now make plans for our financial future. And that's the reason why you're on the call. So what I've done, I've showed you the price of one XRP. Very good. Everybody can afford it. Then what I've done, I've showed you your own countries who are making moves behind your back. So before this comes into law in your country, you can position yourself and accumulate as much XRP as you can. Good? So let's show you how we do that. Banks do not want to become another Blockbuster. You remember Blockbuster refused to evolve with Netflix. Now they're out. Nokia refused to evolve with an application. Android. Nokia is out. So banks do not want to become a Blockbuster or Android. They want to evolve. So now that you got the tea, now that you got the nuggets, you can plan. How do we do it? Very, very simple. So I'm going to share a PowerPoint quickly to show you how we actually increase your XRP portfolio. And some of you might say, but Shane, what is XRP? We understand it's a cryptocurrency. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's more than a currency. And I want to show you that. Okay, if I go back onto Google and if I type in, is Ripple a commodity? Okay, watch this, guys. Many of you don't know this. Look at this. Yes, US regulators joined classically XRP as a digital commodity. XRP is officially placed in the digital commodity category. What does that mean? Gold is a commodity. Silver is a commodity. Oil is a commodity. And I just showed you XRP is a digital commodity. So if anybody asks you what you do, you can say, I accumulate a commodity. What is it? It's digital. You got to get into a Zoom. We'll show you how it's done. Because people assume and associate a commodity with something that's physical, something that you can hold. Can you see? Because you can hold this, they can say, oh, it's a commodity. But XRP is a commodity set by the US Senate and the SEC, which is the Securities Exchange Commission. So how do we accumulate this commodity? So I don't know, it's something about words. Sometimes when you use a different word, people take you seriously. If you say crypto, they won't. But if you use the word commodity, it's you know, the mindset change and say, oh, we're collecting a commodity. So you guys need to use those words now because that's what you're doing. So ladies and gentlemen, officially, I'd like to welcome you to XAB. So what does this mean? Basically means X is for XRP, A is for AI, B is for bot. Now, disclaimer, I'm not here to give you any financial advice. You'll do your due diligence on any exchanges that you're using. Cryptocurrency is volatile. It goes up and down. You guys know that. So we're not offering you any financial advice on this call. I'm not a financial services provider. I'm not registered with FSP. What I'm doing is basically giving you an idea of where the banking system is going so you can prepare yourself, okay? So Bitcoin is an asset token. I saw Chrissy raise your hand. Let's leave all the questions for the end, and we will basically go through it once I'm done, okay? All questions, because sometimes I would answer some of the questions while I do this presentation. So Bitcoin is an asset token. You buy and hold long term. That's why it's called an asset token. Ethereum is a technology token. It's a layer 1 blockchain, which means you create dApps on it, you create decentralized finance, you create meme coins, NFTs, all that is on Ethereum. Okay. Now, let me explain something to you guys. Very, very good. Now, in Web 2, you call it finance. Banks say financial statement. Web 2, finance. Web 3, we say DeFi, decentralized finance. Okay. Why? Because it's not controlled by a entity. It's not controlled by a third-party protocol. It is all decentralized on the blockchain. That's why it's called DeFi, decentralized finance. Okay, Web 2, we call it an app. Some of you go onto Apple, the iStore, or you go to Play Store and you download the application. That's a Web 2. Web 3, it's called a dApp, decentralized application. You see the movement from Web 2 to Web 3. Now the banks are moving into dApps. You need to understand that, right? So all that happens in your technology token. So when I say decentralized finance, you know, okay, it's not dealing with our governments. It's not dealing with our banks. It's completely native to the trust protocol. It's on the blockchain. That means nobody controls it. Okay. So those are the little terms that you need to learn. So XRP here is the banking token. So many of you now will understand why I opened up with showing you what New Zealand and Australia is doing, but not only New Zealand and Australia. If you look at EU, if you look at the whole of Europe, let's type in Ripple. Oh, what did I do there? Ripple license EU, the Europe Union. Some of you have friends and family in Europe, okay? And you can see here, Ripple receives full EU electronic money license in Luxembourg. Can you see? Ripple has their money license. So, so that is why when I present, and if I show you this, the presentation, when I talk about XRP is a banking token, you know why. How many of you guys knew about Ripple getting the EU license? And how many of you now says, oh, damn, I have families in Europe. They need to know about this. Well, that's why they need to be on this call, right? So they can position themselves. So XRP is a banking token. And let's do a deep dive into XRP. So it's launched in 2012. It's used by banks and used to replace the SWIFT banking system. This is Brad Garlinghouse. He is the CEO. And also, very importantly, he is part of the advisory committee for the Clarity Bill that's happening in the US at the moment. So if you don't know what's a Clarity Bill, I suggest that you learn about it, because once that happens, XRP is going to basically jump into prices that you've never seen before. So he is part of the advisory board. So this is what I want to focus on, to replace the SWIFT banking system. In the chat, do you guys know what is SWIFT banking system? Y for yes, N for no. If you do understand, that's perfect. If you don't, I'd like to give you a very, very quick explanation, because if you understand what's happening here, then I've got something interesting to show you. So Denise says she knows what is SWIFT banking. Anybody else on this call, please let me know, because I want this to make sense to you. Okay, cool. We've got Ella that says no. Perfect, Ella. So because nobody else says, okay, we got Michelle also says no. So let me explain the SWIFT banking system so everybody understands why the banks are moving. Because I showed you they are moving. I showed you they're getting this license, but your brain, very, very inquisitive. Your mind is like the ultimate Google search. When you're asking a question, it goes looking for an answer. So why are banks moving? This is the reason why. Okay. So the SWIFT banking system was created in 1973, more than 52 years old. It has over 11,500 banks and financial houses that's linked to it, over 200 countries. So think of it as a giant SMSing system for banks to talk to each other. So if from South Africa, if I want to send money to Australia, I'm going to put in the SWIFT code. If I want to send money to China, I'm going to put in the SWIFT code. But the SWIFT system, as I said, it's old, 52 years old. It takes long for monies to go across, 2 to 3 business days. And I told you, banks need to send money now, because crypto sends money like this. Banks take 2 to 3 business days. Why? They're using the SWIFT banking system. So banks are evolving and the SWIFT system doesn't cut it for them anymore. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I told you, you need to understand that your great-grandfather, your grandfather, even your father never lived in a time where banks moved their payment system. You are on this call for a reason. Call it divine intervention. Call it prayers being answered. Whatever you call it, to give you exponential wealth, quantum leaping into success, quantum leaping into wealth. You are seeing it happen right now. That's why you're on this call. Because banks are moving the payment system. But why, ladies and gentlemen? Let me explain why. Divine providence, exactly. You see, the SWIFT banking system is weaponized at the moment. How it got weaponized? Very simple. Russia attacks Ukraine. You guys know about that. What does the powers that be, US and all of these guys, they say, Putin, Russia, you've been very bad. We are now putting sanctions onto you. When you put sanctions on a country, what you're effectively doing is you are disabling the SWIFT banking system. That means those citizens cannot send money to any other of those 200 countries. You are crippling that country financially. But by doing that, they did something major. Russia had 300 billion worth of bonds and treasuries in the US market, and all that was frozen. So what's happening now? All the other countries are starting to look at this, including South Africa. As you guys know, Donald Trump does not like South Africa. So our South African government and all the governments around the world are saying, wait a minute, if we don't agree to US, even Australia as well, if Australia does not support the regime of the US, they can have sanctions placed on them. So before that happens, they need a plan B for their banking system. They need to send monies in and out of the country. So they're working on the plan B. Guys, am I making sense? So this is way more important than you would think. And this is why we need to create a whole lot of XRP, because countries are starting to fear this. And you may ask, Shane, what countries? Okay, let me show you what countries. These are all the countries that currently using XRP, list of institutions that are using. We've got Japan, okay, Japan is big, UAE, we've got USA here, American Express, some of you use American Express cards, Standard Chartered UK, Spain. If you're from Australia, there you go, Australia, there you go. 1 year ago, this is out. South Korea, Arabia, Vietnam, Russia, South Africa, Standard Bank, this is where I'm from. But let's look at this, future adoption. Middle East, what's happening in the Middle East, ladies and gentlemen? I don't need to tell you that. Latin America, ladies and gentlemen, what happened to Venezuela? I don't need to tell you that. Africa, what's happening in Burkina Faso and all the countries? I don't need to tell you that. South Africa and Nigeria are leading. Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines are adopting. What about Fiji? I'm not sure. Maybe they will in the near future. But as you can see, Southeast Asia is on the map. Now you're equipped with all of the information. What are you doing about it? I showed you the price. I showed you the banks. I showed you future adoption. And I showed you why. Why is the main reason is because of the SWIFT. And that is why XRP was created. Can you follow the storyline where I'm going with this? Okay, your mind may look for every reason for not to do what I'm doing in terms of join our company, but I'm here to show you that is just making sense. So SWIFT is old, slow, expensive, confusing, whereas XRP is new, fast, free, virtually free, 1,500 transactions per second, and we're completely transparent. Okay, so what if XRP takes over 25% of the SWIFT network? Guys, can you see? Denise says crypto is banned in Fiji since September. Yeah, it was banned in South Africa last year. And guess what happened this year? Denise, so you see, when the world is moving towards it, Fiji is going to soon realize, we have to make that change. But I'll keep you updated on that. So if XRP takes over 25%, Now, can you see that this number doesn't seem so far-fetched because 25% of SWIFT is possible with all the future adoption in all the countries? That will put XRP at a price point of 10,000 XRP. But ladies and gentlemen, this is going to take some time. Let's break the numbers down. Let's say it goes to 10 XRP, which is very, very doable in the next 6 to 12 months, right? 10 XRP. If we help everybody on this call to get to 100,000 XRP, that would make you $1 millionaire. But let's say we get you 1,000 XRP at $10. That's 10,000 US. Will that help some of you? If we just get you a fraction of this, will your 2027 look different? I'm sure it would. So how do we get you? Well, I'm going to show you how to earn with this little guy, our bot. So this guy here is what makes this possible for you to earn XRP. So how do we do it? Very, very simple. We do something called arbitrage trading. Now, for those of you on the call, do you guys know what is arbitrage trading? Y for yes, N for no. If I see one no, I will explain because I'm all about education. You need to understand this before we take it out. Because remember, Web3 banking system is new, so we're looking for business partners here, right? So Paulette says she knows what it is. Ella says no. So Ella, Grace says no. So let me explain to you how this works. Very simple. So I showed you in the beginning, there's 947 cryptocurrencies. Okay, I showed you that. You guys, sorry, 947 exchanges. So we do deal with 4 exchanges, the 4 biggest. We deal with Binance, we deal with Coinbase, we deal with Kraken, and we deal with Bitstamp. Now, at any one time, those 4 exchanges sells XRP. That's why it's called an exchange, right? But did you know, sorry, Pauline, can you please mute? Let me just mute Paulette here. There you go. Sorry about that, guys. So, where was I? Line of thought. Okay, yeah. So we work with, although there's 947, we work with 4. So those 4 exchanges, Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, and Bitstamp all sell XRP. But at any given time, those XRP prices are not the same. There's a slight difference. Same with gold. You can go to MT4, gold is a different price. You go to Trade Locker, it's at a different price. You go buy gold from a gold shop, it's a different price. You go buy gold from IBV or whichever gold sellers you guys have with your country, it's always a slight difference in the price. In XRP, there's like, XRP is $1.20. Some exchanges will be $1.20.0004. Okay, there's a slight variation. So what this bot does, we use the latest technology in quantum computing with IBM. All our quantum computing is in Finland, and that data center actually, British Airways uses that. The banks around the world uses that data center to secure their information, and that is our data center. So I want you to understand we have a lot of infrastructure that's behind this bot. So what the bot does, it scans those 4 exchanges, it buys from one, sells to the other, and gives you the profit. Easy peasy. You can do arbitrage trading, but you need a lot of money because the difference is so minute that you need a lot of volume. That is why arbitrage trading is only done by banks and corporates and big players who have a lot of money. If you have a lot of money, you can do that. You can go to Binance, buy from Binance and sell to, I don't know, Bitstamp or whichever currency. You can do that. Nothing's stopping you, but you're going to have a very fast internet. You're going to have very fast computer system to buy and sell immediately. You guys understand? So that's what's arbitrage trading. So a lot of people ask me, oh, but Shane, what happens if XRP price goes down to 50 cents? Those exchanges are still going to sell XRP. There's still going to be a price variation, and our bot will still find the difference, buy and sell. That means you're accumulating more XRP at a cheaper price, which means when the price goes up, you become millionaires. Am I making sense? That is what's arbitrage trading in a nutshell. We don't care about the price. It just changes from one exchange to the other. So it scans multiple exchanges in real time, detect the price variation, rapid automated, speed and precision, buy low and sell high. And ladies and gentlemen, by Friday, I will be having dinner with this man, Dr. Jack van Muller. He is the CEO and he is the co-founder of XAB. His profession is basically his PhD in aeronautical engineering. He designs and programs drones for the military. Absolutely brilliant guy. This is not some AI picture taken out from the internet that some people would show. You guys can be on a call with this gentleman every Sunday. Denise will give you the time. Okay. He's the creator of the bot. So how does it work? Your bot gives you a daily reward up to 1% a day. It trades for you 6 days a week. Okay. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's right. While you're chilling in the weekend, your bot is hard at work. Tuesday, we activate the bot. What do we do? What do we mean by that? Because it trades 6 days a week, it pays you out on a Monday. So on Tuesday, you got to reactivate it. You log into your smart contract. I will show you how to do that. You click on your bot, you click submit, and yes, and it changes color. The arms start to wave, and it says trading. So if you on this call can do that, guess what? You are trading. So how much does this cost? Because a lot of people probably think, hey, Shane, this technology sounds good, but it's going to cost me an arm and a leg. Not really. Ladies and gentlemen, you can come in with as little as 11 XRP. Now, 10 is the basic, and 1 XRP is the fee. So that gives you 11 XRP. Now, you can come into 12 XRP, 15 XRP, 34 XRP, or 502, 2011. They are not set packages. Whatever XRP you have, let me explain this so you guys make, understand what I'm saying. Whatever exchange you have in your, whatever XRP you have in your exchange, it's not doing anything for you right now. Am I making sense? You're only watching the price go up and down. So this is what we want you to do. You take your XRP, you put it into the smart contract. This is a smart contract on the blockchain. And the bot is going to take your XRP and trade it for you on those 4 exchanges and give you a return. We do up to 1% a day, around 20% per month. Now, in the chat, if you're from New Zealand, Australia, if you can please type in how much a month, an average, or how much a year rather, do your banks give you in terms of interest? If you guys put savings into your bank account, what percent you get an average per year? If you could put in the chat, because I'm not sure about your banking in Australia and New Zealand. Whichever country you're tuning from, just put in how much of interest you earn. Here we do around 20% per month. So your XRP is now working for you. Now, how does the bot work? Let's go back to the screen so I can explain. So this bot, this smart contract is programmed to give you a 300% return. So whatever XRP you come in with, times it by 3. Okay, so you come in with 10 XRP, it's going to give you 30 XRP. You come in 2,000 XRP, it's going to give you 6,000 XRP. Remember, our goal is to 100,000 XRP. So if you can afford coming in with more XRP, now is your time to do that. Okay? Excuse me. So this would trade for you till it gives you 300%. Everybody understands that? Good. Let's go. Now, let's take this up a bit. How do you get paid? So because this is a smart contract, you get paid via the smart contract. Now, what does that mean? On a smart contract with the blockchain Web3, okay, there's no CFO sitting there. There's no person sitting there saying, oh, Denise from Australia wants to withdraw, but XRP price is going up. Let me hold on to her withdrawal. Why? That's a human element of greed. Of corporates will do that. But when you're dealing with native trust protocol on the blockchain, that program does not know who Denise is, number one. That program does not know what XRP is worth in the market. It just knows Denise wants to withdraw 100 XRP, execute. It's a computer program, zeros and ones. That is why I only deal with smart contracts, because there's zero human emotion for greed. So you guys are getting a smart contract. So when you click withdraw, the program knows, okay, what do I do? You know, like the ATM, when you put your money, click withdraw, the ATM gives you the money. They don't decide to say, okay, should I pay? No, same thing here. It's a computer program. Okay. Everybody understand the importance of a smart contract. However, I have good news for you. Okay. I have good news for you. For those of you who are new to this call, I am the bearer of good news. You can now withdraw with a MasterCard. Can I have some flames in the chat, please? That means whichever country you travel to, you would withdraw directly onto your card. Some people ask me, Shane, why MasterCard? Okay, let me answer your question. Back to Google MasterCard. So let's look at what MasterCard is doing. MasterCard recruits Ripple. Can you see here? MasterCard said wisely launched the crypto partner. This was the 11th of March 2026. Can you see payments as tapped large companies in the crypto world, XRP links? So does this make sense when I show you our MasterCard? Oops, wait, here's my MasterCard. There you go. How's this, guys? So when you earn your 100,000 XRP, these MasterCards, you can go to your ATM and withdraw cash. You could tap, it's got a CCV number, it's got an expiry date. You could do, maybe you guys can have Uber, Eats, your delivery, whatever it is. Anything that has your account number as well as a CCV number and a date. You could do online shopping. You can do whatever you want. Who loves the idea of that? Now, I'm not sure about your laws in your country, but your XRP does not go into your bank account for you to get taxed. You can withdraw cash and you can pay for your fuel, groceries, shopping, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Versace. Just go, tap and go, and no credit limit. There is no limit on these cards. You can buy a Ferrari if you need to, right? So we're excited for that day. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I stop. What I have done for those of you who are brand new to the call, I showed you the price of XRP. I showed you where banks are going with it. I showed you why the banks are going with it, because they're moving from Swift. Now I showed you with a little as 11 XRP, you can get 300% return. Then you can have multiple bots. You could use your profit to get another bot, another bot, another bot. Am I making sense? So for those of you who are passive people, this is the end for you on this call. You get the link from the person who invited you to the call, and you throw your XRP in and watch it grow. Okay. However, the next part, I'm talking to a special breed of people. You need to qualify for the next part. Why? You see, Web3 do not use Web2 ways of advertising. What are Web2 ways? Google, Facebook, YouTube, all that is Web2. Web3 does it word of mouth, just like Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was created, no banks promoted Bitcoin, no governments promoted Bitcoin, no social media promoted Bitcoin. It was people like me, 14 and a half years ago, I got involved with Bitcoin. So we spoke about it. We went to Bitcoin conferences where only like-minded people were there and the word spread. That's why Bitcoin became this giant. Same thing with our Web3 banking system, what I just showed you now, XAB. We do this word of mouth. This is our Web3 bank. What does a bank do? Gives you X amount of percentage per year with the MasterCard. What are we doing? We give you X amount of percentage per month in the MasterCard. So your own Web3 bank. So you need to make a list of your friends and family who you think deserve this type of information so they can position themselves before the banks do. Am I making sense? So the company rewards you for that. So when I asked Dr. Jack, what's the reward like? He says, okay, we want to, the same money that we're supposed to spend on advertising, we want to pay you for talking about it. Guys, I would be on the Zoom call if I was not going to get paid. None of you as well. We in this world here to make money. We in this world here to become financially abundant. How can we help the poor if we are one of them? How can we help the poor if we are one of them? Okay, that's my motto. We can't help the poor. We can't help the needy if we are one of them. So our own Web3 banking system works like this. They want to compensate you for sharing this message. If sharing is your thing, if you think that people need this education, then kudos on to you. Well done. But if you want to be, you don't understand, I'm a bit shy to talk about this. I'm a very private person. I don't like people to know where I'm getting my money from, blah, blah, blah. No problem. You get the link, make your XRP work for you. Happy days. We love you. Good. Now I'm talking to a different breed of people. People who say, Shane, you don't understand. Things are difficult in my country. Shane, you don't understand. 2025 was terrible for me. I need a plan for 2026 and beyond. And I can see where banks are going. I can see where governments are going. And this is my home. Talk to me. How do I educate my people? You invite them on the Zoom, 7 p.m. New Zealand time. And we'll do the presentations for you. Why? Because you are new here. You don't understand everything. Bring them to the experts, right? So how does that work? How do you get paid? So Dr. Jack told me, Shane, if your wife joins you, we're going to give you 8% of whatever amount of XRP she comes in with. I said, 8%? She said, yeah. I said, what if I want to show my brother? She said, you make another 8%. I said, and my neighbor, another 8%. I said, wow. So I could show everybody and make 8%? He said, yes. I said, and what if they take another bot? He says, you make another 8%. I said, wait, if my wife takes another bot, I make another 8%. She says, yes. I said, if my wife takes 100 bots, every month takes a bot, you will make 8% every time. I said, okay, what if my wife brings in my daughter? Well, you'll make 2%. I said, wait a minute. If my daughter joins my wife, I make 2%. Yet I never showed my daughter. He says, no, you don't need to because your wife is doing the work. So your wife would make the 8%. You'll make 2% because you dropped the first domino down. I said, okay, how deep does this go? 20 levels deep. I said, wait a minute. If that means if somebody in my 10th level knows somebody from China and they take XAB, I get paid from them. Like how today I get paid from Australia, from Fiji, he says, yeah. Guys, this news here means that while you're sleeping, you can make money. If this sounds good to you, watch the next 2 slides. Okay? I'm going to share this with you. I'm not going to go in depth because my whole reason for sharing this is to cast vision, not to train you. I'm casting vision. 8% direct. If you like that, flame the chat. 2% on level 2, 1% on level 3, 4, 5, 6, and 0.5 level on 0.5% on level 7, 8, 7 to 20. That's all I'm telling you. While the training, we'll go this in detail. This is your team bonus. You know, like a bank, you get the Federal Reserve, then you get your bank, then you get your mini branches, and then you get your satellite ATMs. So you can be your head office. And your first level is all your main branches. And then you can have all your satellite branches. And you earn a percentage from every satellite branch in your organization, every ATM that's producing XRP, you get all of that coming back to you. Unlimited levels deep. Hello, New Zealand. Hello, Australia. Unlimited levels deep. Somebody on your 50th level comes into 10,000 XRP because XRP's price is going up. You earn from 100th level, 200th level, unlimited levels deep. You guys hearing me? This is power right here. So in order for you to get here, you need a 500 XRP package. Oh, Shane, you don't understand. I don't afford 500. Well, get on your bicycle and start riding. Because this is where your 500 XRP is going to come from. All your commissions, from all your airdrops. Am I making sense, ladies and gentlemen? So let me show you what I've done. This is our roadmap. In fact, I'm booking my tickets today to fly out tomorrow. Can you believe that? I'm supposed to be booking my tickets right now. So tomorrow I leave here. This moved from March because of the war. This year is in November. Who likes to go to Egypt? Cancun, Mexico next year. Property tokenization. We have a roadmap of what we need to do. However, ladies and gentlemen, let me go back here and show you what I've done. So some of you on the call will say, Shane, can I make money from 10 XRP? Well, if I can do it in Africa, where we so-called third world country, why can't you? So I got started with 10 XRP on the 31st of October. Why this date? Let me show you. This is Absa Bank, one of our biggest banks in South Africa, corporate and investment banking. 15th of October, Absa Bank partnered with Ripple. That's when I got the shock of my life, and I decided to get a hold of Mr. DMA, who I met in Dubai. And I started with 10 XRP. I put my wife on. I made 40 XRP, and I bought another package, I bought another package, I bought another package, I bought another package. And now I'm here. How much I've made so far? 11,160 XRP. Okay. How much is it in New Zealand dollars? Let's look at XRP versus New Zealand. Okay, so let's put in the XRP. I made 11,000, 1,000. Let's call it 11,200. Okay, so in New Zealand, 5,400. I'm not sure if it's a lot of money in your country. Okay, I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, I did the wrong thing. I need to put it on this side. Sorry, my bad. 11,200. Yeah, I saw a Tao put that amount. Yeah. So I'm not sure, guys. Is this a decent amount of money to have made in 5 months from what you call it? 10 XRP? You guys, are you guys there?
The question, Shane?
Okay, you guys can see me. I seem to be frozen on this end. You guys can see my screen. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, 1 second. I'm just here. Let me just, there you go. I'm back. So is 2,200, decent to make in 5 months from 10 XRP, which is like what, $35 or so? What does my team look like? For those of you who are new, with a little bit of elbow grease, the good old-fashioned way, getting onto Zooms, 1,300 members. I brought in over 146,000 XRP. And I'm the first Sapphire in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving into Web3. We're moving to a new banking frontier. And XRP is the go-to coin. Your question is, how many XRP are you going to need before it goes to $10? Because that's going to get you to millionaire status. So if you found value of anything that I shared with you today, and I want you to understand, I don't care if you agree with me or disagree with me or think I'm arrogant. I'm letting you know that the world is moving. Your country is moving without you. I'm just the messenger. I'm just the bearer of good news. However, what you do with that information is totally up to you. Why I believe in this project is because there are real people behind it. I know them, I met them, and I'm going to meet them on Friday. I'll be landing in Thailand. And I know a lot of people look at making money and they say, oh, I'm getting X amount. And then you ask them, can you prove how this money is coming? They can't do that. We see it live every Sunday, how the bot works. You guys can do that too. If I had time for a call, I would have showed you guys how the bot works. Well, I've got 4 minutes. You guys want to see how the bot works quickly? Who wants to see it? You guys want to see that quickly? Okay, cool. Let me show.
Yes, you've got us all on fire and all excited.
This was when I launched South Africa. Let me just cue this in and then I'll play it for you, right? So on the screen here is the man that needs no introduction, Mr. DMA. This is Julia. She is with the company now. She was the first person to ever get registered, but she's working with Shweta and Rehan for the last 13 years. This is Shweta. She is our Chief Operations Manager. Her background, she was the Chief Operations Manager for Barclays Bank in London, as well as Citibank. She studied in Westminster in London. And she is our chief operations manager. She's the one who makes things happen. And this is Dr. Jack Van Muller. So these are not just people that you see on a PowerPoint. These are real people. I just want to search that in and click play.
All the real-time XRP transactions happening around the world, and that's the data that goes inside the bot. And especially if you just take a look, you know, it's really hundreds of thousands of transactions, and it's going so fast. So the bot works with XRP stablecoin transactions, XRP fiat currency transactions, real-time US dollar price already going above 150. We are waiting, once it hits 150 and above, then it won't go back. So that's what we're going to see very shortly, going back up to 150 and above, 180 very shortly. XRP and other cryptocurrency transactions. And the financial statistics, almost $2 billion in trading volume just in the last moment. So again, it's not just us pushing this. This is really the world really believing in this system. Then here we have the live trades. We're very proud to say that we have over $41 million in trading accounts. It's not in dollars. It's of course in XRP, but it's expressed in dollars. We work with Binance, Kraken, Coinbase, and Bitstamp. And as you can see, there are small price differences between these. Manually, you could never do this. The price differences are too small and they dissipate too fast. But with artificial intelligence and machine learning and high-speed internet and good servers, and also quantum computing from IBM for optimization, we can execute trades very fast and create revenue and create profits. So you see here the trades coming in. Buys, for example, at Bitstamp, sells at Coinbase for a little bit higher. You know, you can see the amounts that's being bought and sold, the profits that are being made. Again, pretty risk-free because normally it's only for major institutional players arbitrage. We do it with XRP. We are totally new in this. We are really pioneers in this field. And it just doesn't execute a trade if it can't see a profit. So now I'm going really inside the bot, which doesn't look very pretty, but it's making good revenues. So here in the top, you can see how many attempts it is trying has made since I opened it. So I just click here on a trade. It's already hundreds. Now it will go to xrpscan.com. As you can see, 12 seconds ago, as it appeared in the system, the hashtag is there, 38 XRP successful trade. And let me just show another one. So it's already done over 1,000 while I was speaking. Also, what a lot of people that were with us from the beginning can see is that in the beginning, the bot had a lot of failed attempts, and that has gone, definitely the bot is performing better. For example, here, almost 200 XRP. Also, 8 seconds ago, here's the hashtag for if people want to check. Again, verified externally. Yeah, you see more coming. Again, here one more 16 XRP, 13 seconds ago, and I think the timestamp is really shows that this just happened, and it's just from our system. So let me catch another couple. If you see like a 0, just means that it couldn't see that the profit basically disappeared, so it couldn't execute a profitable trade. So let me just catch another. It already tried almost 3,000 trades. Here we have 2,000 XRP. So yeah, it's 9 seconds ago. The hash is there, and that's, I think, you know, this is really this is what the company is about. That a lot of people just show graphs which are not verified. Here another 600 XRP 5 seconds ago. It's all different. It immediately executed. Of course, we are also dependent on the liquidity in the market. Also, the more liquidity gets into the system, the more XRP packages are being bought, the more higher the liquidity in the arbitrage engine, and also the more revenue the arbitrage engine will create. So you see now, I think Julia also can say in the beginning, I had shown a lot of failed attempts, and the bot is just getting better and better. So that's a real machine learning. Here, another one.
So guys, I just want to show you something, right? Do you know he says transaction ID, TX ID, this ID here is verifiable, right? What does that mean? What he's showing you here is the XRP blockchain. So some of you may not understand the power of what he just did. Let's assume you sending money to somebody from China. Can you go to your bank and tell, hey, bank manager, it's taking 2 to 3 business days. Can I go into your server and have a look where the transaction is? No, Web 2 is closed. These guys control it. You cannot go in and have a look. Here, this is verifying the transaction, what the bot is doing and what it's paying us. So you can actually verify it on the blockchain. That is the beauty of Web 3. Am I making sense? So this AI does machine learning. That means it learns. And as it learns, it gets better. That is why our returns are going to start getting better. Now on Friday, see, I want you to see something. 9:32 South African time, my flights just got booked now to go to Thailand, to leave tomorrow. How many of you guys like that type of lifestyle where one day you're in one country, next day you're sitting on at an island somewhere? This is what I'm talking about. The company is actually, because I'm Sapphire, they pay for my hotel, they pay for the event, and they give me money for flights. Now, Egypt, the same thing. So I'm doing what I love. Web3, education. Where XRP is going, I get paid. Then they say me, Shane, travel. Denise, we're going to travel to Egypt. You guys are going to work for the Egypt trip in November. You're going to have a whole bunch of you in Egypt. So when people talk to you about pyramid, you tell them, yeah, that's the real pyramid. It's there. You understand what I'm saying? So, guys, that's it for me. It's gone just 4 minutes past the hour. I don't want to take up much of your time. Thank you for making time. For those of you who are in, type in I'm in the chat. And if you are out, thank you for joining us. I hope you learned something. I hope you take some action. Maybe now is not your time. Maybe now you feel, hey, you're not just ready for abundance as yet. We are not here to judge you. We are not here to claim, a providence over your life. It's up to you to do that. But if you find value, I just showed you where the world is going. And those who are early adopters and pioneers make the most of money. You know that. Richard Branson says, if you find a way to make money and you don't understand it, just jump in and learn about it later. That's what we do here. I didn't even know how to present, but I said I need to educate people about XRP. So thank you guys for the comments. I really do appreciate it. I know my presentation is a bit different from Mr. DMA. I do mine's more of an education of a storyline so people can follow the story. Some people like it, some people don't like it, but I feel we are more of an educator. And that is why I go so in-depth explaining each component, because it's important for people to know why they're doing certain things, So I'm just going to go through some of the comments here. So thank you, Shane, so much from Gail. You're welcome. Skylar, thank you, Shane. This is bloody awesome. No worries, Skylar. Paulette says thank you. No, not a problem, Paulette. Always my pleasure. Big love. Very excited. All again. Denise. Yeah, Denise, when I met you in Malaysia, I told you that this is something that if we put a little bit of work, we can make some really, really good money and change a lot of lives. Grace says we appreciate it. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Chrissy, for that. Yes, thank you for that comment. Charles says, have a good trip, brother. Thank you so much. I need to pack. I'm learning in every Zoom. That's the whole idea, Leanne, and I'm glad to have added value. See, what you saw today, you cannot unlearn it. When you sleep tonight, your mind is going to be working. How do I beat the central CBDCs called central banking digital currencies? How do we beat that? If the CBDCs are using XRP as a bridge, they need to pay fees, right? You pay XRP fees. So a lot of people ask me this question, oh, so you think New Zealand is going to stop using the New Zealand dollar and use XRP? No, that's not what we're saying. This is what I'm saying. They're going to send money digitally to another country. They're going to use XRP blockchain, RippleNet. But in order to use that there, they have to pay fees, like how you paid fees. So that means they need to buy a whole lot of XRP. So when they're sending monies across, they can pay the fee. So you guys are actually accumulating fuel for the financial system. Hello? You are accumulating fuel, a commodity called XRP, not fuel as in oil, which is also a commodity. You are accumulating a digital commodity, which is XRP, which is the fuel for the banking system for the world. Sleep about that, let it marinate, think about it, and we'll catch you guys on the Zoom tomorrow. Mr. DB will do the Zoom tomorrow. Obviously, I'll be in flights. But guys, thank you so much for making time for the training. And more importantly, thank you for making time for being on the Zoom.
Shane,
Thank
Yeah,
you.
anybody like to say something before I end the call? Any questions before I go? Ciao, Denise, anybody?
go and pack your bag.
Have you learned something today?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I think if you a lot of people want to know how to do this business. I think if you move it from making money, XRP, saying I need to make people aware, then the whole mindset changes. You know, your mindset from money, because remember, when you follow your purpose, money follows you. You don't chase money. My purpose is education, and when I educate, money comes to me. Am I making sense in what I'm saying? Follow your purpose, because there's a lot of people in your families and in your WhatsApp groups and your messengers who needs this type of information, because they're just going to get caught up in the rat race. Printing money, quantitative easing. They're going to continue with that. And that's not a good place to be in. So for the last time, see you guys. And the next time I speak to you, I'll probably be sitting with Dr. Jack around me,
Oh, yes,
probably
please.
having dinner. And you know what I'm going to do? I'll tell you what I'm going to do, right?
Don't
I'm going to
forget
choose. So Denise, what we'll do is we'll do this here, right? You send me a group of your top 4 leaders' names or 5 leaders' names, right? And I'll do an interview with Dr. Jack. I say, hey guys, if you're getting this message from Denise, that's me with the co-founder, Dr. Jack. Dr. Jack, how do you feel? What's your message for Denise and the team in New Zealand? He'll say his 2 things and I send it to you. So when you do when you and your leaders are speaking to somebody, says, no, there you go. Dr. Jack is giving me a shout out. We've got New Zealand, we've got Australia. Would you guys like something like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's validation, right? So I'll do that for you guys then. Okay,